The local control funding formula is a revolutionary way of providing funding to school districts in California. Approved by Governor Brown in June of 2013, this law eliminates categorical funding, which has acted as red tape and prevented districts from spending money on the specific needs of their student population in their districts. The local control funding formula gives school districts freedom on how they spend their educational dollars. The local control funding formula doesn't mean that there are more dollars. However, school districts will have more authority to decide how to distribute the funds they are given. California's educational budget has significantly been slashed since the financial recession of 2008. The funding formula returns school districts' funding to 2007-2008 levels by the year 2020-2021. Although all districts receive a base amount, the formula is based on meeting the needs of high-needs students and matching money to meet their needs. California established that high-needs students include English language learners, foster youth, and low-income students. These are the students who need more support to achieve academic success. The LCFF webinar outlines that school districts will establish a starting point based on how they allocate resources in the past. Each district calculates their funding gap by subtracting their starting point from their target. The level of funding from the state budgets will determine the percent of gap that districts must close each year. The LCFF works on a set base amount for all students broken down by grade level, where K through 3 grades receive 6,824 base amount, grades 4 through 6 receive 6,947, grades 7 through 8 receive $7,154, and high school grades 9 through 12 receive $8,289. The formula provides for add-ons per grade levels. For example, smaller class sizes in younger grades, K through 3, and career and technology or career and technology support for higher grades. As mentioned, for students who need more support, the district will receive more money for them. For instance, school districts with higher concentration of ELLs, English language learners, low income, and foster students with the 55% or more of the population of high needs students will receive an additional 50% more than their standards base. The LCFF is based on equity, fairness, and accountability. It requires that schools are transparent with how the money will be spent on students. This in turn increases community involvement. For instance, Education Code 52060 states that on or before July 1st, 2014, the governing board of each school district shall adopt a local control accountability plan, known as the LCAP. The public must be given an opportunity to submit written comments regarding the actions and expenditures in the plan. A public hearing must be held on the LCAP to receive recommendations and comments about the spending, and the governing school board must adopt the LCAP in a public meeting when the board adopts the annual budget. Basically, the LCAP is a year-round collaboration with stakeholders in the community to review data to identify the needs in the community, as well as opportunities for impact and examples of existing improvement. It also sets attainable goals for the district and aligns spending to show a clear connection between the budget allocations and goals, as well as review and adjust as necessary. There are 8 priority areas in the LCAP. Basic support means that students have access to fully credentialed teachers. They have materials that are standards aligned, as well as maintained facilities as well as implementation of the effective Common Core standards. It also requires participation of parents in decision-making programs and student achievement marked through standardized assessments and reclassification of English learners. Student engagement is marked through attendance, a school climate. Another priority is a school climate that is measured through the reduction of suspensions and expulsions. Students should be offered a variety of classes that allow students to be college and career ready. And the last priority, other outcomes, which allows for flexibility for districts to allocate funds that students are receiving to ensure that students are receiving a well-rounded educational programs that are not established in the established priorities. Michael Kirst, the president of California School Board, remarks that the local control funding formula ushers in a new shift in politics from insiders to local communities, which is seen through the LCAP. Parents and community will be taking active roles in this process. The LCFF 101 video webinar establishes that local control funding means that all students will benefit from a reinvestment in our schools after years of deep budget cuts. With districts setting goals that describe what supports and services all kids will receive, so all kids will benefit. The NBC broadcast brought up an interesting point made by educator Michelle Rhee, who favors the LCFF. She stated that she wants money to go directly to kids with full transparency and analysis on return. In other words, transparency is needed. Transparency is seen as school districts need to identify the services being provided through supplemental and concentration dollars. They must describe how the services will help meet the district's goals for high-need students and explain why this is the most effective use of the funds for meeting the goals. All in all, my understanding of local control federal formula is that it provides school districts to have more power, more decision-making power in how they spend their money. No longer will they be having to spend money on categorical projects that are outdated. As one of the videos mentioned, some of the categorical projects are from the 1970s, which may be irrelevant to today. So again, it provides more power to school districts.